Good morning, Billy.
Oh, it's Friday. We've made it. Let's have some fun.
6 a.m. Mile High City on this Friday, November 14th, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned in to the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights and hottest takes from the right, left, and center. Whoop, whoop. Bill, you're breaking the curfew law.
Of course, yes. I might have, in my youth, gotten a few of those curfew tickets. Might have had to show up in court a few times.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
I got one, too.
My best ones, though, were the ones I got at Red Rocks. Those are the ones that meant the most. Because, it's...
They just stand there and as you walk out, curfew.
Well, it was, again, not the most clever. We go up there and we're running around. It's dark. There's no concerts or anything else. We're just having fun. We're not destroying anything. We're just being fools.
Oh, so there wasn't a concert. You're just
we're just running around. It's just totally dark. We're just like, let's go up there. It's one of those things that you go up, it's night, and with your buddies, you're like, oh, we're standing on stage. Isn't this neat? Kind of the thing. And you kind of have this feeling about what's it like if you're here performing at night. So we're running around. Of course, the parking lots aren't necessarily very hidden. So when the patrol car rolls through, whoop, whoop, and so they know people are up there. And so, we all of a sudden see, we're running around, and all of a sudden you see the flashlights, the bounce, bounce, bounce. And we're like, oh, okay, hide. And then you have the guys, gals, we know you're here. We're not going anywhere, and your car's down there anyway. And so we're like, okay, fine. And this is the funny part, is me and my buddy are lining up there. And then some other people come out of the bushes, standing there, and we look over and we're like, Colin, what are you doing here? Denny? And they're like, hey, guys, what are you doing here? And the cop's like, you know each other? We're like, yeah. And they're like, did you come here together? No. I'm like, but you know each other. Yeah. They just laugh and shake their heads. But yeah, we knew the guys that were also up there doing other stuff. Yeah.
It's where Mullen goes to be disobedient.
Well, it was, let's see.
Escape those nuns.
Those guys, let's see. It was, we were from, the group, we were from Mullen, Kennedy, and Lincoln were the three schools where we were all from.
Look at you.
Yeah, that was the group. Yeah, it was.
I remember
we were troublemakers.
I remember getting a curfew ticket and just thinking to myself, what the hell kind of country is this? Like, I literally just walking from one place to the next. Which is the basis of this lawsuit out of Elizabeth, Colorado, which was, I could understand not wanting loitering, right? Even though I think that might be a violation of the freedom of assembly anyways. But I got picked up like this kid did, just going from one place to the next.
Yeah.
In which my parents had approved me to do. So it was like after midnight, and I was riding bikes home from my buddy's house to home. Yeah. And I lived 4 blocks from each other.
Oh, yeah.
So I rode by a church that a cop happened to be taking a nap in, because that's what they do in Cherry Hills.
Oh, yeah.
And he lights me up, puts my bike in the back of his car. I was like, my house was right there.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, I need to take you there. I'm like, my house was right there. He goes, no, I need to take you. So he puts his bike in the back of my car, makes me sit in the back of the car, drives 2 blocks.
Oh, that's great.
Gets out, and then drops me off, and I'm like, what the crap? Yeah. And then I get so, like, little it's like peak high school or peak teenage angst.
Yeah.
How dare you? So I get my little pocket constitution. Actually, I didn't even have a pocket. I had it in the back of my middle school textbook. Oh, that's funny. And I'm, like, reading through it, and I'm like, they can't do this to me. And so I go down to my little court proceeding where you're supposed to, plead no contest or whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, Mom, this is unconstitutional. And she's like, shut up. And I'm like, I'm going to fight this. And, like, the cop's like, just accept the ticket. Yeah. I'm like, absolutely not. And my mom's sitting there going,
Jeffrey, take it. But you can't hit you in the back of the head because the cop's got some more questions. Yeah.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So I, to my great regret to this day, accepted the ticket. But I then did the next week ride my bike down to the city council meeting and plead my case before the city council. And they were nice.
We went there and we had to do the plea and what were you doing, et cetera, and then pay the money and stuff. And I was more of, I hate to put it this way, but it was kind of the Mike Tyson view when he got caught, for some of the stuff he was doing, where he's like, I didn't do this, but I've done other stuff that I'm probably guilty of something. So that was it. I took the tickets. I'm like, I don't really deserve this, but there's so many other things that I'll just take this one just to balance out karma. I'll just take it just because. Yeah, I'm not going to fight this one just because. There's so many other things that I should have been ticketed for. We'll just call this one good. Yeah, this is like paying up in the pot. That's fine.
Got to balance out that karma equilibrium a little bit.
It, yes.
All right. Well, we'll talk about this lawsuit coming out of Elizabeth against curfews, a mass immigration release. A judge in New York said, the 600 people you picked up, well, let them out. ICE having to deal with that guy now. DeSantis v. Polis. A Twitter feud erupts between the two governors. Who would you rather have as governor of your state, Ron DeSantis or Jarhead Polis? And then we're going to talk with Savannah from Complete Colorado about Jared Polis's budget, $50 billion budget. What's in it? What's his priorities? We'll get into that in the 8 o'clock hour. And then a young student at Regis University really engaging in scandalous behavior, Bill. You want to talk about you and I scandalous behavior. This guy has the attention of the entire university administration for asking students if they know Jesus Christ.
Oh, okay.
Scandalous. And he's been brought up before a disciplinary committee and all that other stuff. So we're actually going to talk with the student and his pastor in the 9 o'clock hour. Now it's time, though, for news and comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Good morning, TGIF. 41 and mostly clear in Denver. Expecting a high of 71 today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, despite the government reopening for business, about 600 flights have been canceled across the country today, but the FAA is trying to halt further flight reductions here in Denver and across the U.S. A man has been arrested for an alleged road rage shooting in Jefferson County. The sheriff's office began investigating after a black SUV crashed Tuesday, you may remember, on 285 near Settlers Drive. Deputies found that a woman had been shot in the head before the crash. The woman was taken to the hospital and still in critical condition. The sheriff's office announced the arrest of 56-year-old Matthew Impiliteri on Thursday. He's currently facing multiple counts of attempted first-degree murder. Investigators have located a teen reported missing in Broomfield. Police began investigating Wednesday after 16-year-old Nevaeh Gonzalez was reported missing by her family. She was spotted Wednesday afternoon near Union Station in Denver with two men and another girl. Broomfield police announced last night that Gonzalez was found and is safe. Lauren Boebert is shooting down rumors. Her White House meeting on Wednesday was to get her name removed from petitions for releasing files regarding Epstein. Boebert added her name to the petition for the file release, one of only 4 House Republicans to do so, of course. Boebert downplayed the meeting in the White House Situation Room, reportedly with AG Pam Bondi, FBI Director Kash Patel in attendance as adults just having a conversation. That's what she said, and Boebert did not elaborate on the nature of the conversation. But as Jeff was on this 2 nights ago, so just keep it here. Greatest smartphone Rolodex in Colorado. Jeff would get down to the bottom of the story far ahead of anyone else. So no real news on that one. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth has announced a new military operation that would target narco-terrorists and protect America's neighborhood. The Western Hemisphere is America's neighborhood, and we will protect it. That's what Hegseth said. U.S. strikes on alleged drug boats have killed about 80 people so far, and now we need to focus on Mexico. VPJD says home ownership is crucial, and the administration is trying to help with that in the near future.
Sean, first, we probably need to build about 5 million new homes. And if you look in the red states, we're actually doing a very good job. One of the biggest challenges that we have in the housing market, aside from too many illegal aliens who are taking the houses of American citizens, is that in the blue states, you're not building enough houses.
On Fox News last night, oil drilling
I'll be honest, that's a little disheartening here in Colorado, because I'm just like, there's more of them coming.
Yeah, right.
They're going to build more housing, more Dems, socialists are going to come.
Absolutely.
Ruin the state.
As long as California has not been flooded by the ocean, they're coming.
Go ruin that state, then move on over here and ruin this state, and they just kind of
absolutely
go from one place to the next.
And then the lefties say, all you people, that's all you do is cry about it. Don't come to our state. Yeah, you're right. Don't come to our state.
I know. If it wasn't for the fact I was born here and my family lives here, and the beauty of the state, there's no reason. Think job opportunity. How great are the job opportunities in Colorado right now? How great's the affordability? How great are the taxes?
Exactly.
How great are the schools? You know? Not
hey,
reasons
by the
to
way,
come.
the more and more I work with you and Billy, so we're going on 2 years, the more I realize, man, I had a boring teenage life compared to you guys.
Because you actually listened to your parents?
Yeah.
You're right. I was actually in my house, man. You guys were all over the place, man.
That's funny. Yeah,
Mullen and Cherry Creek, man.
As my dad always said, I grew up with an underdeveloped sense of fear. And so there were certain things that I just was like, let's see what happens. Yeah.
That is funny.
So I learned how the alarm system worked via magnets, and then bypassed the windows in my room. Mm-hmm. So my parents would put the alarm on, and I just opened the window, and out I went.
That is funny.
There are other things that I discovered magnets were good for, etc. But I'm afraid my mom's listening, and it might have involved some petty crime. So I'm not going to go into that too deeply. But we're not going to cover that one this morning. Sorry about that one. Yes.
One thing we know, both of you were very creative.
Yes, we were.
Yes, you were.
Sometimes in the worst ways possible. Yes.
But it is wild because the guys I ran with, like, I'm like the only one that's either not in jail or still alive.
That's incredible, man.
So, that's the power of Jesus Christ right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, with all of mine, I got a couple of guys that I ran with that. I got sideways with the law. I mean, Jeff and I've talked about this off the air. There's a guy that I played soccer with for a number of years, and he was not in my core friend group. He was in one of those outer circles, but again, played on the same soccer team, hung out, went to clubs together, stuff like that. Yeah, he's never getting out of prison here in Colorado, and he should never be let out of prison because of what he did. Had another friend of mine that was brought up on manslaughter charges. It was self-defense, but that did ruin his life. The rest of us came out fairly unscathed, all doing very well. You know, a lot of really stable relationships, stable families, raising kids. Still being fools. A lot of us came out remarkably much better adjusted than you would have guessed at the time.
Blake, were you just into sports? Was that your thing?
Yeah,
were you kind of an athlete.
Yeah, and my dad was all of our coaches, in 2 sports and teacher. So, it was a little different pace in Longmont than it was in Denver.
Have you ever been cow tipping?
Oh yeah.
I've never been cow tipping.
Yeah.
What is that? Like you pushed over a cow while it's sleeping?
Well, yeah, and there's two levels of it. Yeah, it depends on how old you are. Yeah, it depends on how old you are, and depends on how much you like the kids with you. Because there are a couple of things. One, you realize how large the cow is, and you're getting into 400 or 500 pounds, etc. If the kid's light enough, he's going to run at that thing and just and bounce right off like he's hit the side of a Volkswagen, and that's hilarious. The other one is if you can get enough momentum, you can actually tip the cow over, and the cow's asleep, and so it just like wakes up and has no idea what's going on, and that's hilarious.
It doesn't hear you approaching it.
No. Have you met cows? I mean, you can hunt them with a hammer. Not a real intelligent animal.
True.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah. So the idea is, if you hit them, the problem is if they go over hard enough, you can crack ribs. So there is a danger there. But when they wake up and they're startled, they're hilarious because they have no idea what's going on. They're like, "Meh, meh, meh, meh." They're flailing around, and you are laughing so hard. So there's two levels of who you want to go cow tipping. Sometimes you take the kid that's like 5th, 6th grade that weighs like 78 pounds still. You're like, yeah, run at the cow. This is gonna be hilarious. And he's just like, pow, like he's hit a wall. Yeah, but then otherwise you tip him over, and you wake him up. Oh yeah.
What's funny? I went to high school. One of my great friends, and God rest his soul, one of the funniest people ever. But I swear, this was 10 years before Tommy Boy.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, Chris Farley was imitating him. The great Paul Martin was his name, and he did that, the cow tipping stuff.
Oh my God!
And when I saw that movie, I was like, "You gotta be kidding me!" Wait, who told him about Paul?
Yeah, who told him about Paul? Yeah,
and what we did, you know. It was good fun.
And the thing for me was that it was a rite of passage because we had family friends that owned a ranch and still do out in eastern Colorado. It was when the farm kids, they were like, let's go take the city kid cow tipping. So it was like, it was a rite of passage. They were doing it. They were just surprised that the first one I hit, I actually tipped them over. They didn't think they thought I was going to do the Volkswagen thing. Like, and just bounce off them. But I was able to get the cow over, and they were like, we were surprised. We didn't think. I'm like, you were setting me up. They're like, well, yeah.
Is that because do you have to like kind of get underneath and lift up and then
tip? You kind of get a little bit underneath them, but it's also about momentum and also size of the cow. There's a whole bunch of stuff that is just random as far as when you hit into them. I just got lucky. I got lucky on happened to choose a smaller cow that just went over. There's no reason at the age I was that should have worked out. There's no reason it should have worked out. Yeah, and that's what they were surprised. And all of a sudden, I had a little more respect from the farm kids. They're like, all right, he can hang, he can hang. Yeah, exactly. They're like, let's go take him coyote hunting. Let's grab the 22s and jump in the trucks. Yeah,
that's right. Everybody had a 22 at our
Everybody
school.
Did, yes.
Yeah, I think I told you guys about one football practice when someone went hunting in the middle of football practice at our practice field.
At the practice field. That's great.
And got a deer.
I love to bag the deer during practice. That is fantastic.
You guys are like out on the field, and you're like, hold on. Run back to the car, grab the 22.
Yeah, someone
shot it.
Yeah. The coaches were not happy with this guy, but I mean, needless to say,
he got a deer.
Story you'll never forget.
He bagged his deer. That's much better. Their priorities here.
And it was in season, you know.
That's the point. Yes, you don't give up that. If you have the license, you do not give up that chance. Right. You do not do that. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I can spend hours and hours walking through fields, being somewhat uncomfortable at times, and trying to sneak up on a deer, or I can go to the truck in the parking lot.
Exactly.
This is an easy choice at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah, parking lot truck's the choice.
Gun rack.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, that's exactly the choice. You made the right choice.
Oh, man, I love it. All right, the Rockies' new president of baseball operations is relishing the road ahead. I don't know why, but the team formally welcomed Paul DePodesta to the franchise. He says the team's poor record over the last 3 seasons didn't scare him away.
There's no challenge as compelling as this one. This is a unique environment, and there's a reason it's interesting to so many people, not just in baseball, but even in sports.
Wow. Good luck to him. Avalanche over the Sabres 6-3. They are now 12-1-5. CU Athletic Director Rick George stepping down. He'll stay on campus but won't return in the same role next academic year. He's moving into a new advisory role. He spent 13 seasons at the helm. in the athletic. He's been around there forever, and the reason that Deion Sanders is there now. Made a lot of money for the university. 40 in Westminster, 39 in Parker, 41 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue. Blake Olson News Talk 710 KNUS.
The unseasonably warm November weather rolls along right on into the weekend before we see some changes heading into next week. In the meantime, enjoy unseasonably warm November weather for a little longer. Low to mid-70s today, near 70 tomorrow. Increasing clouds, 60 Sunday. Overnight Sunday into Monday morning, a chance of showers and a cooling trend. We're going to see more in the way of unsettled, cooler weather next week with a couple of Pacific fronts arriving mid to late in the week. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. When I heard Blake talking about the deer that they just shot randomly in the middle of football practice and then threw in the back of the car and drove home, it is a different time. And my mind went to that time that George Patton. Did you ever hear this story?
No, what?
He was in a skirmish with Pancho Villa's army when he was a lieutenant, I think. Yeah. Killed 3 Mexican troops and then strapped him to the front of his truck and drove back.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my God. Oh,
that was George Patton.
Wow. Okie dokie.
Yeah, different time back then.
Yeah, totally different time.
All right, Colorado family files federal lawsuit over curfew violation. Says it's about the money. Actually, found this guy awesome.
It's about the money.
It's about the money.
At least someone's being honest at some point.
Welcome to Elbert County. It's the way I love it out there. Family in Elbert County has filed a federal lawsuit against the small Colorado town of Elizabeth over its curfew law. You hear people say all the time, it's not about the money. It's about the money to me, says Mike Saunders, who said he spent $30,000 fighting the town's curfew law, which was later found to be unconstitutional. I've spent a lot of money fighting, so I want that back, said Saunders. The lawsuit filed late last week in federal court in Denver stems from a traffic stop made by Elizabeth police in 2021. 4 teenagers, including Saunders' son Joe, who was 17 at the time, had been bowling and were driving back to their home in Elbert County when Elizabeth police pulled their car over on a July night for having a broken headlight. Police also said they noticed there were 4 juveniles in the car. It was after midnight, which is when the town's curfew ordinance kicked in on Saturday nights. Police did not cite them for using drugs or alcohol or any other serious violations, just for a curfew violation. 3 of the teens received probation, but Joe Saunders, who was the driver, fought his $30 curfew ticket. He was convicted in Elizabeth Municipal Court and appealed, saying the law was unconstitutional. In November of 2024, a district judge eventually sided with Saunders and wrote that he had the constitutional right of freedom to travel. The ordinance infringes upon a minor's First Amendment liberty interests and his or her right to travel, wrote the judge. She said of the town's curfew law, the ordinance is not rationally related to preventing loitering. It also prohibits juveniles who are using the streets to travel between places where they have a legitimate right to be. Bill, it's only been 35 years, but I once again stand on the right side of history.
That's funny.
8th grade Jeff is a little fired up about this one. But, yeah, that's the right analysis. I understand if a community doesn't want a bunch of kids hanging out in the high school parking lot at 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
Right? You want to eliminate that. Okay, I get it. But kids going from one house to the next, or from one job to home, or, that type of thing, that shouldn't be a crime in America.
Yeah. Question is sometimes how do you determine, et cetera? But this is one in which, obviously, the fact that they're in the vehicle, you can determine where they're going. The other part is, I have a feeling in cases like this that, I don't know, there becomes somewhat of a pile-on. And what I mean by that is the officer involved needs to find as large a number of charges as possible, because then it gives leverage to negotiate anything on the back end. That if they just find curfew, but they've got curfew, moving violation, it gives them more leeway to affect an outcome on the other side. So I think at some point there also are those charges that are necessarily rolled in just because they want to have as many things as possible in order to prevent it just being dismissed. Because the worst thing for that officer to do is to do this, give the ticket, do all the paperwork, and then have it dismissed or not filed. That would be the worst thing in the world. So I think that may be part of it, which I don't agree with.
I would love to hear from our listeners any other wild curfew.
Yeah, did you get any curfew
laws?
tickets?
Did you get a curfew ticket? What was going on? Do you agree that when the law goes as so far as punishing people just traveling from one legitimate place to the next, that it should be overturned? Give us a call. Join the conversation. 303-696-1971. 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line. Speaking of that, well, here's the text line, 720-819-5115, 720-819-5115. She said, why, Suzanne texted in, why do you think tying a human to your truck is funny? Different times, but yes. You think that's funny, Mr. Christian? Could you imagine the protest today?
Yeah.
On that? Yeah. A little different time back then. We also made men differently back then. All right. Let's talk Gyrie's. Wife and I went to Gyrie's location in Parker recently, and it was an absolutely fantastic experience. We sat down with their professional designers, and they showed us an incredible selection of Hunter Douglas custom blinds, shades, and shutters. Look, I was a little overwhelmed at first, but the designer was the pro. She walked us through everything and helped us find the perfect options to enhance the look and functionality of our space. So whether your curtains are clashing or you just want a fresh look, Gyrie's has the solutions. Their designers are the experts, and they can help you with everything from window treatments to full room decor. Here's the best part. They offer a personalized in-home consultation. They'll come to you, so you can get the same expert advice right in your own home. Do yourself a favor. Get started today. Visit Gyrie's.com to schedule your in-home consultation. That's GUIRYS.com. Go see the great people at Gyrie's. You'll be sure to thank me. And we'll continue with your phone calls and texts. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Headline from Fox. Judge who ordered release of 600 Chicago illegal immigrants slammed by DHS as activists putting lives at risk. A federal judge in Chicago has ordered the Department of Homeland Security to release more than 600 illegal immigrants held at a suburban detention center, blasting the agency for, quote, repeated material violations, unquote, of a court-approved consent decree that limited who could be detained under U.S. immigration law. U.S. District Judge Jeffrey Cummings ruled that more than 600 detainees being held at the Broadview ICE Center must be released on bond and into ICE Alternatives to Detention program by November 21st. Citing what he called a pattern of unlawful arrests and confinement, the order stems from a class action lawsuit claiming federal agents unlawfully detained hundreds of migrants who were not subject to mandatory detention or final removal orders, a direct violation of a 2021 Biden-era decree inherited by the Trump administration. In the ruling, Cummings accused DHS of holding migrants in unsafe and unsanitary conditions, saying detainees had been kept in overcrowded buildings next to overflowing toilets. The judge further said the department's recent reversal on detention authority represented a 180-degree change from previous legal interpretations. The decision could force the largest single-day release of ICE detainees in Illinois in years, freeing hundreds arrested during Operation Midway Blitz, a Trump enforcement sweep that immigration activists claim traumatized communities across the Chicago area. Today was a good day as the court ordered the immediate release of 13 people who have been wrongfully arrested and detained by ICE, said the ACLU. More than 600 others may soon walk free as the court enforces our agreement with the federal government, a step towards accountability for years of unlawful arrests. Years? Donald Trump hasn't even been president for a year. Years. Why do progressives love criminals so much, Bill Thorpe? We do all this work. We get 600 of them. You find an activist judge in the ACLU, and we release them all right back into the community.
Again, I think it depends on your definition of criminal. I think that matters in this, and I think it's germane to the discussion. Are these this roving wave of this migrant crime wave that Donald Trump talked about? We've got stories out of Chicago. There was one where they did a raid on an apartment building, brought in a Black Hawk helicopter, rappelled down from the helicopter into the building because it was taken over by Tren de Agua. It was filled with gangsters, and they arrested dozens and dozens of people. And they found 2 that might have connections to the gang. 1 they can't even verify. They just say it does, but they haven't been able to say. So the time in which they showed the Black Hawk helicopter rappel into the building that was infested by gang members, they find 2? 2? Really? I think that's a question as far as the efficacy and the targeting of who they're going after. This obviously was an operation that was bent on targeting those dangerous migrant criminals that Donald Trump talked about, and they got 2. Winning? Is that it? That's the problem.
You think out of all 600, there's only 2 that have gang affiliations?
That's what's been proven so far, yes. It's not that what I
thought
think.
You talked about just that one apartment complex.
Yeah.
But you're saying out of all the 615
what
that
I'm
have been
saying
arrested.
what I'm saying is this, that we have an example out of all those people that were arrested, and there was dozens and dozens that were arrested at the apartment complex, and they found 2. And here's the idea. If in those 600 people, they can show that they are active gang members, were gang members, were a danger to the community, then I believe you can persuade the judge to keep them behind bars. I think the problem is that ICE and Homeland Security is having a problem justifying that these people are such a danger to society, they must be kept in confinement before anything is done. That even if they came across the border illegally and have no other criminal interactions with the police at all, is that a person that we need to spend our tax dollars detaining? Is that the danger to the community?
Bill, we
That's
just hope that they self-deport.
It's not necessarily a matter of self-deporting because some of those people were in the system for asylum already. We've seen people arrested at asylum meetings. That's the issue, is the Justice Department is having to now justify to the courts that these are the dangerous criminals that need to be held this way and then deported without due process in some cases. And they're having a hard time justifying that based on the individuals they're arresting. This is on them. If they were showing up, if they got hundreds of gang members, there we go.
Bill,
prove he had hundreds of gang members.
Every
they
step,
can't prove
here's
it.
a statement from the DHS. And it's exactly right. At every turn, activist judges, sanctuary politicians, and violent rioters have actively tried to prevent our law enforcement officers from arresting and removing the worst of the worst. Now an activist judge is putting the lives of Americans directly at risk by ordering 615 illegal aliens to be released into the community.
How many of those are gang members?
Every
Why isn't that in the
time.
press release? Where is it in the press release how many are gang members? Show me the threat. The direct threat.
Okay. So
Yeah,
only
where's the
if they're
threat?
gang members, only if they're explicit gang members with MS-13 or Tren de Aragua tattooed right on their front forehead, do we care if they're here. This is a consistent, concerted effort to try to stop the deportation of illegal immigrants at every step. Every step. They're at a point now where they will engage in high-speed chases with ICE. Have you seen this? There's high-speed chases taking place where ICE officials are trying to shake protesters that pursue ICE. It's like a perfect picture of what's happening here. Who's the problem in Chicago? ICE is the problem, according to these protesters. So when they go out on raids, these little protesters follow them around with sirens and they blow horns and stuff. It's a perfect picture of the exact flip that you have under progressive control, where the problem is the law enforcement. And we need to pursue them and warn everybody that law enforcement is coming.
Now, the issue is
Meanwhile,
that law
you can have
enforcement's not arresting the gang members.
615 illegal immigrants running around your communities, but unless, in Bill Thorpe's mind, you have MS-13 tattooed on your forehead, you can stay.
Well, wasn't that the issue, that all these gang members were coming here to take advantage of us? I'm sorry that I am asking the Justice Department and ICE to show they're arresting gang members. And so far, they haven't been able to.
70% of everybody that's been detained by DHS for deportation has had a final order of removal or is a criminal in some other capacity.
Criminal
70%.
in what capacity? No, there's no outside of crossing illegally. I've seen numbers that show 75 to 80% of them have no other criminal charge against them at all, other than crossing the border illegally. No other criminal charge, and that's what DHS and ICE have to show, that these are dangerous people.
Why?
And that
Why?
Because if you're going to hold them indefinitely, you need to show that they are a danger to the community. And
Guess what? Guess what? They can leave.
If you can't,
They're not held indefinitely. You can go.
you can't walk
back
out. You
to
can't
your
walk out.
country
Hang on a
of
sec.
origin.
Once they're arrested by ICE, they're not allowed to just walk out of the facility.
Guess where they can go?
They're not
Their
allowed to
country
walk
of
out.
origin.
They're not allowed to walk out of the facility.
But that's not being
the
held
issue with the
indefinitely.
judge.
That's not being held
Hang on a
indefinitely.
sec. That's the issue with the judge. The judge is saying you can't hold these people if you can't justify they're dangerous criminals. That's what the judge is basically saying. If this is on ICE and DHS,
Bill,
show they're criminals. That's it.
We get to just let them go and then just hope they show up again for the next deportation hearing? No, DHS is acting exactly right. They can get out of those holding cells, detention facilities, by going to their country of origin. So it's not being held indefinitely. All right, let's get to Mary in Wyoming. Good morning, Mary. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Yeah, good morning.
Hi, good morning. I am so frustrated with Bill's position that is only the criminals that were said. That is not what Trump said during the when he was running for president. It was those would be targeted first. But then it was always, we have over 20 million illegals in this country from not just the last 4 years. Don't forget there were still illegals in there before that.
Mary, I understand that, but here's what the judge is saying. The judge is saying you got 600 people that have been arrested by ICE, and they can't show that they're dangerous criminals. That's what the judge is saying. The judge is saying, okay, Trump, you said you're getting the dangerous people first. Where are they? That's my question. Where are they? We have the example that I have where they do the Black Hawk helicopter raid on a Chicago apartment building drop-in and find two in the building, but the justification was that hang on a sec, Mary, the justification was the building was infested with gang members. That's why they had to use the Black Hawk. That's why I had to rappel from the sky.
Do you know that
it was so dangerous?
Do you know for a fact that the gang members weren't tipped off and didn't run away?
No, but here's the idea, though. I don't see, there's nothing in the reporting nor anything from DHS showing any sort of mass migration out of the building prior to the arrest or prior to the action. Because they would be staking that out, just as we talked about our friend with Stefan. They stake out the location before they show up, just to see what's happening. There are people that are there in advance. Nobody ran out of the building that we saw, so that's been in the reporting. So I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but I'm saying there's nothing inside the reporting. But there were two. That's what we're asking about, Mary, is if the dangerous ones are the ones that are supposed to be arrested and taken out first, why is it wrong to hold the presidential administration to that? To getting the dangerous guys first?
Bill, these people aren't going to show up for immigration hearings. Go ahead, Mary.
That was the first that they have been addressing those. And what my point is that when is it going to be okay to go after the ones that have established community ties to be your neighbor, but they are still here illegal? When do we get to go after them?
How about let's just clean out most of the gang members first, and we can have that discussion. Then I'm open for it. Absolutely. Absolutely, Mary.
No,
I'm not lumping them in the same group. I don't view both of them as such a danger.
That's never going to come for you.
I don't know that.
There
is. Absolutely there is. Oh. Yes, absolutely there can be. Absolutely, 110%. But I need to see the dangerous people going.
I keep asking. We've been doing that. I mean, that has been the priority.
No,
we're still
Mary, it
run
hasn't.
into the
Mary,
other ones.
when 75 to 80% of those arrested do not have those gang ties nor have any sort of a violent criminal history, that's the statistics that we have right now. It doesn't mean we're going after the worstest of the worstest. That's the issue, and that's why the judge is releasing these people, because they're not necessarily a direct danger to the community based on their recent past and criminal history. So you can't hold them until you decide to give them a hearing. That's it. Some of the people that have been arrested are those that are in the asylum process, and they've been showing up to their check-ins. And now, all of a sudden, they're dangerous migrant criminals and have to be held. Yes, and have to be held.
Let's talk about that asylum. You know, Venezuelans, what I really struggle with that, they claim asylum refugee status. However, they had a country that was equal to ours as far as economy and everything else. They screwed it up. They went ahead and voted communist, destroyed their country, and now want to run here and destroy ours.
I disagree on basic motivations, because I believe some of the people inside of Venezuela aren't just the idea of, hey, I'm fleeing communism. I'm also fleeing some oppression or other gang activity or other things in the community.
Is but
hang on a sec, Mary. Part of that issue is how we adjudicate asylum cases. And I have been talking about that since we started this show, that the process in which we use to get through asylum cases is broken, takes too long, and should be done in 6 months at most. That's a problem, but it doesn't mean the people that are here on asylum are all migrant criminals that are violent and coming here to rape and kill us. That's the issue. Is we have to figure it out as far as the asylum process. We can't just turn them and go, well, obviously, seeking asylum, you're just an incognito gang member.
No, they are seeking asylum for a country that they destroyed, and they now want to come here and destroy ours.
Yeah, but you're giving those individual people, Mary, a whole lot of independent responsibility on the idea that they're the ones that destroyed the country.
In Bill's world, there's no accountability for breaking immigration laws, and we'll never get to a place where we're actually going after people unless they're violent criminals and gang members. Everybody else,
I want to go after the
everybody
crime.
else
That's
can
silly.
stay for now.
I
All
know,
right.
I'm horrible.
Mary,
we'll
get to the.
What am I thinking?
Thank you for your call. We've got
me.
You Choose the News coming up. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 CAN US.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We'll get to the phone lines. They're hot, but we're going to take a little moment of diversion to Bill Thorpe's You Choose the News.
Yes, it's that time of the morning where we get to embrace the loser side of life. Yes, it's the loser edition of You Choose the News.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
Loser!
Let's go. Loser! You're a loser!
The Losers Club.
Bunch of losers.
You're such a loser.
You made me feel like a loser!
She's a loser.
You are such a loser.
Loser.
Yes, I hold in my hands those stories that both Jeff and Blake felt weren't worthy of our attention earlier in this week, so they come back for a second shot at glory. It's You Choose the News, dumb stories about us humans that I find on the interwebs before the show, and then I give them even more ridiculous headlines. Why in the world would we waste valuable KNUS time this early in the morning? Because those that are actually in charge do not awaken until 7 o'clock, so when Jeff and I are left unsupervised, strange things are bound to happen. If you missed the curfew talk earlier, yeah, that explains a lot. Okay, as always, Blake Olson's in the news department, Jeff Hunt in the studio. Gentlemen, here are the choices. Headline number 1, sock it to ya. Headline number 2, it's back on the menu. Headline number 3, have you tried shouting? And headline number 4, keeping it in the family. Mr. Hunt, your choice.
Let's keep it in the family.
Yeah, keep it in the family. This is the story of Lamar and Josiah. They both play football for the Compton College Coyotes. Lamar's a wide receiver, Josiah's a defensive back, and in scrimmages, they do line up against each other, but they've been going at it for their entire lives, or at least Josiah's, because Lamar is Josiah's father. He's also a 45-year-old junior college athlete. Yeah, I love that. It's the second time Lamar has suited up for the Compton College Coyotes. He was on the team in 2009 as a spry 30-year-old, but he was sidelined due to injury and ultimately stepped away from the team and the school. But when Josiah enrolled and joined the Coyotes, Lamar was inspired to not only return to finish his business degree, but also finish business on the field. Yes. At the age of 45, he so far appeared in 2 games for the Coyotes, but didn't record any stats. Yeah, but he said getting on the field more than 15 years later and lacing up the cleats with his son is one of the highlights of his life. I think that's fantastic.
I love that.
Yeah, I think that's great. I hear that Jeff's going to try to join his son's high school
cross-country
team next
It's
year.
a little different.
Yeah, exactly.
The waddle.
Yeah, he's just worried all the girls are going to beat him. Yeah.
No, worried? They will.
I know. I know. I'd go out there with a girls' soccer team right now and they'd smoke me. Okay, here we go. Blake, your choice, sir. Sock it to you. It's back on the menu, or have you tried shouting?
Sock it to you.
Yeah, sock it to ya. Issey Miyazaki and Apple are teaming up to give you a brand new iPhone accessory. Yes, you can now put your iPhone in your pocket. Wait, don't I have those in my pants or my... Well, anyway, they've designed a special outside of your pants pocket. This is stupid. It's a piece of cloth that is singular 3D knitted construction designed to fit any iPhone as well as any other pocketable items. Yes, basically, it's an expandable sock they want you to wear around your neck so that everybody sees you're a giant dork. Yeah, this is ridiculous. They even say, hey, it's expandable enough you can use it as a small purse. No, you have a small purse for that. Yeah, we knew how everybody was so cool back in the day when they had their BlackBerries attached to their belts. They had that little holster thing. Oh, we are reliving those days. This time, it's a colorful sock to let everybody know you're a doofus. Yeah. So you can buy that online if you want to. Yeah, it looks really bad. It does. It looks like you just took a sock and wrapped it around your neck.
Yes.
Stupid. And they're going to charge you so much money for it. Okay, Jeff, your choice, sir. It's back on the menu, or have you tried shouting?
Have you tried shouting?
Yeah, have you tried shouting? Oftentimes that can hurt in some situations, especially if you're dealing with seagulls. University of Exeter researchers have shown that if you yell at seagulls, they're more likely to stay away from your food. They put a closed Tupperware container with a box of chips inside on the ground to pique the gulls' interest, and then they did a couple of tests. They had a loud voice yelling at it, "No, my food, get away!" They had a voice that was just talking to it calmly, and then some robins chirping. Well, they found out that the gulls that hang around the cities were not as scared of a loud voice, but they definitely would stay away from the food. The more wild gulls would fly away rapidly, where the city gulls would just kind of walk away casually, like, no, not my food. I'm not interested anyway. I don't want any of that. Yeah, but 70% of the gulls exposed to the robin song said, I can beat up a robin, and kept eating the food. So yes, they did say the biggest difference is if those gulls try to take your food, make sure you yell at them, and that's probably the best way to do it. And the one we didn't get to, it's back on the menu. Coffee has been shown to help if you deal with afibrillation. If you have a varying heartbeat sometimes, they tested this over 4 years. 2 groups of adults, those that had coffee on a daily basis, experienced less instances of AFib reoccurrence. I know, kind of cool. That's it. Science! Okay, back to you, Jeff.
The more you know. All right, Jared Polis or Ron DeSantis. You're listening to Jeff and Bill.
KNUS.